Gentlemen, friends, followers, REDX customers, audience members, I'm Justin Zimmerman, Director of Content here at the REDX, and we're on episode number 5 of the Stability and Opportunity podcast with a special guest, as always, Colton Lindsay, who is a real estate agent here in Utah, as well as a coach, a trainer, a masterminder who's got a lot of influence and experience in helping agents deal with not just the skills and tactics of real estate, but what we're going to talk about a lot today is the mindset and psychology behind it. And so, as the name of the podcast indicates, we're in a time where it's more important than ever to focus on our stability. And like every moment of crisis, there's always opportunity in the chaos. And so I'd like to welcome everybody right now to today's show. Let Colton get in, talk about what he's about but first cover a couple housekeeping items for our customers who are in areas where shutdowns are happening, executive orders are putting restrictions on what we can and can't do. And so I want to put extra emphasis on today's show for you, because even though you might be limited in certain areas, I hope today we get into areas, tactics that allow you to see opportunity where it might feel hopeless or stuck, or other areas that would otherwise keep you from practicing. So Colton, thank you so much for taking time. Opportunity and stability. Let's talk at it.
Awesome, man. I appreciate you guys being here today. What a crazy last 2 weeks, right? It has been, I was telling one of my friends the other day, I feel like these last 2 weeks have been the longest day of my life, especially here in Utah with that earthquake on Wednesday.
Oh my,
My brain stem has been like fight or flight. I've had to do a lot of breath work just to calm my nerves and just make some decisions of a space of what I believe is the eye of the storm. I have this declaration I've said for years. I'm the eye of the storm. I stay calm and cool no matter what's going on around me. I'm comfortable with chaos, ambiguity, and the unknown. And we've had more of that than ever before. But I do think I want to get this message out to your people. I don't know how many people are watching or will watch, but you're going to be okay. You're going to be able to sell real estate. You're going to get through this. This isn't the end times. This isn't the end of the world. In fact, we look at data on this. What the biggest challenge is right now is just keeping the psyche of the American people in check, right? And by check, I mean keep it calm, because the masses do not have the skills and abilities or the behaviors to really process what's going on. And we've moved from a space where in last century, we're in an industrial age where what did we value last century? It was valor, it was bravery, it was hard work, and the last 20 years we've shifted to value victim and drama and problems. Anyone could raise their hand and they got attention for it. But right now, because we have real important life or death situations going on and financial crises going on, there's no space for victims right now. So the victims aren't going to get the attention, and real leaders aren't going to be born right now. Real leaders are just going to step up. Real leaders were born a decade ago, 12 years ago when the last recession hit. Okay, so leaders are stepping up right now. They're not being born, they're stepping up. I think that's important. That yes, you're going to be able to have opportunities to thrive through this. You're going to be able to be successful. It's not going to happen how you've been doing it the last 5 to 8 years, though. I can promise you that. It's going to have to shift. Key word, write this down: innovate. People who make it big through this, what we're going to go through, is about innovation right now.
One of the big things that I look forward to discovering today, as I've realized there is no game plan, really is no playbook. I reiterate this and bring this up on every episode, is that we kind of have to invent it as we go right now. And so one of my hopes is that both the viewers watching this, or our customers, our audiences, anybody, as well as our internal teams, start to write down and take notes of when we come up with action items. Typically, what I've seen them in the last couple of episodes come from is the existing principles that have been adapted to work in today's market. So that way, as we've been talking about becoming virtually valuable and finding the opportunity amongst the chaos. So I guess there wasn't a question in that, but I did set it up for, you've got agents who are looking up to you, talking to you, you coach them, you have mastermind groups. I'm sure that in your inner circle, which I think is where a lot of today's substance can come from, I'm sure you just haven't been sleeping on the couch waiting for this to blow over, given your last speech about courage and leadership. The leaders that you're in touch with, the people who are leading other people, I imagine, in their team, What are some of the challenges that they're talking about, and what are some of the discussions that you guys are breaking down to create those adaptations of those principles?
Yeah, well, I think the first and foremost, everyone kind of, I felt like this. They got punched in the jaw, then in the stomach with the wind knocked out of them, then their legs swept out underneath them. And if you're in Utah, then people started throwing rocks at you while you were down when they threw the earthquake in. What I mean by that is we were just, you were tased, shocked. We were, even the biggest leaders, okay? So I got together about 8 of the top business owners in the real estate industry, from Century 21 Everest, if you're from Utah, George Morris, Spring Benson, just some incredible.
Shout out to George Morris. We're longtime friends and partners in essence with them.
Yeah, so these are some of the people I've had deep masterminds and one-on-one conversations with, and the biggest thing that we've all come to a conclusion is this economy is still coming to a screeching halt. And so if you're not aware that the real estate market is about to become dramatically impacted in a big way, then get off the couch, get to your computer, start getting a game plan forward, because you need to move forward. And so here's our first thing that we did after getting calm. Okay, we got calm first. We really cooled our space. We didn't sit on the whole couch for a week doing it. It was like, do a breath work for an hour, get your composure back, and then get your game plan. Our first step was we started cutting expenses. Okay, now I can't talk in disclosure of the amounts that these guys are cutting their expenses just because of privacy with them, but it's dramatic. Okay, and I'll tell you, I've probably so far cut 25 to 30% of my expenses off the top right now. I've gone and I've cut some salaries by 50%. I've cut some by 25%. I've laid other people off. And part of the reason is that is number one is I am not foolish enough to believe that you've seen what's in California. County recorder's not even open. New York, you can't cold call right now. I'm not so foolish as to believe that revenue is going to slow down. Like, if you aren't understanding that revenue has a good chance of slowing down, then I feel bad for you. So that was our first thing, cut those expenses. Second thing,
can we play with that a little bit before jumping into the second thing? So two things. One, tactics. Jumping into, I've heard a couple of other episode guests talk about the need to remain calm. And I think calmness is a skill, just like everything else. I think some people don't have that skill, would like to learn that skill. And even if now's the time to learn it, better late than never. If there are some resources, if there are some practices or modalities that you can recommend that you use, other agents use to be that calm in the eye of the storm, let's first give our audience some things that for real estate agents in helping creating calm.
Yeah, now I can give you some starting points, and I recommend everyone go follow me on Instagram, the WGR, because I'm actually starting with a couple people. We're going to be teaching live on my Facebook how to do some of these modalities. Number one for me is called breath work. Circular breath work, you can do it for 15 minutes to 60 minutes, but it really creates a space of self-certainty and a space of uncertainty, okay? It directly changes the chemicals in your body very, very quickly. So a lot of you guys are having fear or anxiety, and if you're watching this live or replay, in the comments, drop if you're feeling these. Just put a yes or a 1 or something so we know you're getting it. Worry, doubt, confusion. You've been spiked once after another in your brainstem, and it's scientifically shown this. What breath work does is it will shift those chemicals and will cleanse your brainstem. It'll bring you back to your higher self. When you go to fight or flight mode in your brainstem, it's survival mode, and we're not necessarily in survival mode. The truth is your grocery stores aren't going to run out of food. As far as supplies go, we live in the most abundant time ever in the United States, which is a great blessing. We just had to shift the structure of the supply chain. And you see now, as they've caught up and they've really created a new structure, grocery stores are staying on top of it, at least in most of the cities, okay? So breath work is basically circular breathing. And I'll just do 10 breaths real quick to kind of show you guys, but it's... And so you want to, I'm not going to do 10. I'll pass out if I do it 10 on you guys. But you do into the belly, into the chest, and up through your head. A famous way you can do it now that will give you simple instruction is the Wim Hof method. But instead of holding after 30 breaths like taught in Wim Hof, keep going. And after 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, your body will take over and start to breathe. And you'll start to really feel a tingling in your fingers. You'll feel calm in your mind. You even might even go like, your hands will go like this. It's called tetany, right? And it's where resistance is just being able to move. The science behind it shows that stress and fear is held emotionally at the atomic level in our nervous system. And so you can actually disrupt those chaotic atoms inside your body of fear, and you can pass it through. So you can move through it. It's not that you're not going to feel those negative emotions. It's just you're going to let it pass through quicker. Okay. And when you can do that, your body will be more relaxed. Right now, I can tell I've been tense because I get it right here in my shoulder. That's where I get it. Right. So I just want you to take kind of a body observation of where you're at. Where do you feel stress or tension in your body? That's because you're not breathing enough. You're not getting enough oxygen. Okay.
And I want to play a little devil's advocate here for the people who are like, I don't need breath work. I don't need to calm down. Don't tell me, this. I need that right now. And that I know what you're saying. I mean, I've on the last episode, I talked about some Tony Robbins events I've been to and how some of the world's top performers rely on these techniques at the highest levels to get calm, to get centered before they take action. Because without a clear head, it's hard to make clear and decisive decisions. So if not now, you don't need this. Remember this for later. Wim Hof, a friend of mine, there's a Wim Hof challenge that was going around for a while. It's a free app. Go look him up, the Iceman. It's actually probably more important than ever to kind of look at what this guy's done as far as his ability to raise his immune system and fight off what was called endotoxins and that whole thing that launched his career on, I think it was a TED Talk. And regardless of how much you believe in it, I think doing it and following what you're saying will give agents probably the first piece of the puzzle, which is that mind-body awareness to make cool, calm decisions in the event of whenever a surge of anxiety or stress comes about.
And it's going to happen. The more you become awakened to what's happening, you're going to feel it. I've felt it. Have you guys felt any? Yeah. It's don't pretend like you're not feeling it. It's okay. Admit it, but you don't have to stay there. You can shift it quickly. I meditate daily, twice a day for 20 minutes. I just use a simple app as the Oprah and Deepak 21-day meditation. They've got a really great new one they just launched, which is Hope in Uncertain Times. And hope doesn't mean you just sit and wait for a lifeline, by the way. It means that you really get at peace with yourself and you can be decisive. Because right now, you've got to believe in you, that you're going to make decisions. Unfortunately, too many realtors are going to stay stuck in this space of fight or flight, and a lot of them are flighting. They're sitting on the couch just waiting for it to pass. They believe that really this is going to be over in 2 weeks. You know what? I'm not even planning on my kids going back to school this school year, okay? Maybe in the fall, possibly. I don't know because I can't read that far. I know that I have got to make decisions for me, for my children, for my people that I lead. And they're looking to leadership right now. The one way you can actually stay calm is by reminding others, hey, it's going to be okay. I got your back, okay? You're going to be okay. When you can reassure others, it actually reassures yourself. It's like a declaration to yourself.
That's a great quote right there.
So it's not that you know exactly how it's going to work out. When I talk about certainty, I don't mean I know exactly how things are going to turn out. I know, like as Tony Robbins always uses, burn the boats and take the island. Listen, the boats were burnt for me, okay? So let's go take the island. I don't know what it entails, but who's with me here? You know what I'm saying?
There's really only one way, and it's forward.
Right. It's forward. Now, one of those things is you move forward in the right direction. The question might be, well, how do I move in the right direction? Get calm. Get centered. I do every single day, my mastermind partners, we do the I Love My Life journal. Okay. It's an activity to practice keeping the mind focused on that space of gratitude and happiness.
Could you hold that up to the screen just so maybe the viewers, they could get a look at some of the columns in?
Yeah, so let me see if I can go to just a blank page. So the first exercise, and I don't know if it's easy to see or not, it's what I call I'll just read it. First column is called Addiction to Life. Okay, so I write 3 things that made me laugh or smile in the last 24 hours. That's how I start my day every day. Because I don't want to turn to my social media right now more than ever. I don't want to listen, and I would advise you guys, don't pay attention to Fox News, MSNBC, CNN. These are all biased channels. If you want facts, you need to I think, listen to conversations like this on what real people are doing through it. But also check out CDC, check out WHO, check out these verified websites. Don't be listening to media that has an agenda. Second section for me is attitude of gratitude. So I'm writing down, I pick a topic and I write 10 things that I'm grateful for around that topic. Okay. The third portion is I write, I earn. So I write, I naturally earn 3x whatever the largest year I've ever had was, right? So if your biggest year was 100 grand, I naturally earn $300,000 in the next 12 months. I'm training my brain to accept that that's possible. Okay. And then I write 10 powerful money declarations, like money comes to me easily and frequently. Money comes to me in avalanches of abundance. I am financially free. I create my financial freedom. I create my what is it? I create my life. I create the exact amount of my financial success. I'm an excellent money manager. Things like that. I have 10 of those, and we have a whole list of them in my journal for my mastermind partners. And then I go on to focus declarations. So depending on what I need to instill in some certainty, I might go over my core values and write those. I write some wizard things like I believe in me, I trust in God, I trust in the timing of the universe. It might be a business declaration like my sphere of influence loves to hear from me, I easily and naturally set appointments, I adapt naturally in uncertain real estate times. Just things like that. Like right now, one of them that I'm really driving in is that people naturally want to meet with me for COVID-19 business strategy meetings. And in the last 24 hours, I've scheduled 9 appointments with me or my team to be able to talk strategy on how they're going to do business. And then we have an opportunity to offer them for us to generate capital. Okay. So that's it in a nutshell on the first side. The second side is I write down what I call the junk drawer, the brain dump. Okay. It's my smart day. Everything that I think I need to get done that day. And then I group them up into chunks. And so there becomes like 3 to 5 major outcomes for me. Tony Robbins calls it RPMs, or rapid planning method. Okay. It's where I learned most of that part. And then I find out, well, okay, if one of them is to be a present dad that shows up in my daughter's lives, if like that's an outcome, I flood it with certainty. Why is that important to me? And then I come up with, well, what are 3 to 5 actions that if I do them, I'm going to show up as a present father that is there for my daughters today. And then I book them on my calendar and I do those things today. So to me, I don't have giant task lists. I have outcomes, and I have 3 to 5 actions per outcome. And like today, I have 4 major outcomes. That's it. And I have a total of 17 actionable items. I get those 17 actionable items done. Guess what? I hit my targets for today. That creates a space of certainty for me. It creates the rules around a game that I can play and that I can win.
I love that. You've opened up a lot of things. You mind if I jump in?
Yeah.
A friend of mine who's a Tony Robbins coach and has been a real estate coach for a long time, Brian Moses, may or may not know his name. One of his clients is a guy named Justin Batt, who is a TED Talk speaker who talks about exactly, this is for you, Colton, to go look up how he has this book and talk on being a present father in the lives of children and as a CEO, as a high performing person. So I just thought I'd share that resource with you and anybody else who has a similar, how do I show up as an active participatory person in my family's life. Also, just wanted to jump into 2 things. One, before we don't move on, is essential spending. You talked about cutting things, and I think it's really important that agents know what they're going to cut if they're going to cut things. And we have our opinions on what things should stay and what things should go. And I'd like to hear your opinions on it. But I can imagine those conversations sounding like anything that keeps us in front of people who are still showing an interest in buying or selling, or the potential of buying or selling in the future. Systems that support your ability to stay focused and organized, and
Yeah.
systems that help you stay in communication or connection with your audience, clients, and sphere.
Right. So I think for me, the biggest number one, here's how I explain it. Cash equals oxygen in your business. Okay. So what I would recommend you guys do first, and this is what I did, this is what I'm recommending my team does, my mastermind do, is go do a financial analysis right now. Like when this conversation is done, because if you're in California, like I talked to an agent, she does $500,000 a year. I said, I can't do it tomorrow at that time. Can you do it a little bit later? She's like, right now I'm completely free. So a lot of you, if your calendar is completely free, you need to start getting things on it. So schedule this on it. Financial health analysis. And the first thing you need to do is identify where's all the cash you have, liquid cash. You need to get your thumb on that really, really clearly. Okay, and put it into your oxygen tank. Your oxygen tank. Step two, what you need to do is you need to look at how do I decrease the amount of oxygen leaking out the back end of my tank. Okay, and you need to have, I call it a budget, but a more positive way that I know people call it is a spending plan. Okay, so a spending plan is all the essentials from salaries to marketing to tools and kind of like REDX is a tool, in my opinion, systems and tools, okay? And then education. Those are my four main categories, okay? Salaries, marketing, systems and tools, and education. And then what you need to do on that is highlight which ones are optional, which ones are helpful, which ones are necessary, and then which ones are absolutes, okay? And then you need to start looking at the optionals and get rid of them immediately. Okay, so for example, and I know you guys are REDX. My basis has started with Mojo. Okay, so to me that's a tool. REDX is a tool. I'm not going to eradicate it. Why? Because that holds my database. That holds a way to feed data. That adds a way to communicate. Okay?
That's your oxygen generator.
Right. Zoom for me in my companies, you guys are using Rendezvous. Mine is Zoom. Okay, so Zoom is a tool that will not get eliminated. Depending on where, like for example, postcards was one of those helpful but not necessary. So we got rid of those. Okay, but what we didn't get rid of is, especially for our academy, is we didn't get rid of Facebook marketing. In fact, we just shifted our offers. Okay, so my point is, label which ones you need to get rid of. Okay, and my obviously biggest expenses that I could shift were salaries. Okay, so it's no question that salaries are going to get affected by people. So you're going to have to learn to have that hard conversation. I think that's another part of the dialogue we can have. But so step two is you got to reduce what's leaving on the back end. Step three is you got to get clear where you're going to feed cash into your business. How are you going to feed oxygen into your business? In the last 4 days, I've already created $12,500 in monthly residual revenue for us and my companies just by innovating, saying, okay, where's the opportunity here and how can I create a revenue stream into me? And with my brand, the WR, people are coming to me left and right now, not because of these strategies, but because I've kind of positioned myself as the emotional and psychological expert in the real estate field.
I love that.
You know, I had a meeting with, if you guys know who Jay Shetty is, do you guys know who Jay Shetty is?
Yeah, I see his.
Super cool dude, right? I had a chance to meet him about 1.5 years ago, and he looked at my social, and we had a conversation, and he said, hey, Colton, from what I know in real estate, the piece that's missing in that industry is the emotional state part, okay? If you look at, I know you guys have done a lot of business with Mike Ferry organization, okay? We look at an example of Mike Ferry organization. It's only taught, and most trainers and coaches are like this, how do you do more deals and how do you make more money? And right now, it's not only about deals and money. It's about psychological and emotional state. Even the last 5 years, people have made a lot of money, but they've suffered emotionally, okay? So I'm really blessed in that sense that's why so many of you guys are coming to me, reaching out to me. I think it was Prospecting Today or something recommended we get in contact with this. So I'm finding ways because of the skills I have. So find the skills you have. What is your values? What do you stand for? Find out when people are coming to you, you start charging for it. Okay? That's what I've done. And because you're not going to get this anywhere else. People aren't getting this from other places.
I feel like that's an important thing that I even remember during the last recession, people were afraid to ask for money, even though they were offering services and value. And of course, being tone deaf to what's going out there is the opposite. But at the same time, there is still money in the market. People are still wanting to grow their business. It might be a smaller number of people wanting to buy or sell, but not being afraid to ask for business, ask for money, and not let that external conversation shut down your internal dialogue.
Right. So when we look at the third part is, where's your cash going to come from? I would find out what do you got in under contract, depending on where you're at in the United States or Canada, and start to think, okay, money is going to come in. Don't count on it. Don't guarantee it, because deals are going to fall apart right now, but get aware of it. And then start to think over, if this shutdown really lasts for a while, well, who's going to be affected? Restaurant owners, hotel workers, travel industry. The first projection of numbers is we're looking at 20% unemployment or more. That's depression level. This isn't recession level conversation. This is depression level conversation. And I don't say that to depress you guys. I say it to create awareness, because also this is where the most millionaires and billionaires are going to grow out of, because they're going to be forced to innovate. And like I said, because we valued that victim space for so long, people that are stepping up as leaders right now, like me, I'm going to make more money the next decade than I made my entire life. That's a promise, okay? Because I have the ability to adapt and innovate. So think about this. We're going to have more short sales. I don't know how soon. We're probably at least 6 months out on that, maybe 4 months. I can't really say an exact date, but they'll put a pause on things, on foreclosures. You're already seeing that happen. But when we come out of this, you're going to see an increase in short sales, okay? So what I do, we've already got everything ready to start doing those, and we're going to do short sales, but we're going to be charging $1,000 up front to even take on your file. So we're creating revenue up front so that we actually have cash flowing in. And it does two things. One, it generates cash flow, and get rid of this bullshit. You only get paid on closings, guys. Because now is the time to set new standards. Do things that everyone else is telling you is not possible. I know it's possible because I charged $500 in the last short sale. Okay, now we're going to take it to 1,000. But it's this too with your clients on short sales. It commits them to stay through the process. It commits them, because too many times in short sales in the past, and there was a lot of them, the consumer gave up because it takes 6 months, 12 months to process it, and you waste 6 months and they bail, you don't get paid. Okay, so it ties a commitment into the process. But people in the medical fields, they're going to be very well employed for a while. Okay, so there's going to be a consumer for you. People that are government employees, they're going to be very well, that's
insulated.
Insulated. Okay, so business owners that are innovating, like myself, okay, business owners that aren't in real estate, they're going to innovate. I'll give you an example. In Utah, Five Wives, the brewing company, or they distill liquor. They've already shifted their model and got it approved. Now guess what they're doing? Not whiskey or not vodka, hand sanitizer. They're already producing hand sanitizer. There's a shortage there. There's a place in the market space for it. Okay, so you're going to see companies just innovate like that, and you want to make sure that now you're really growing. And it's hard to say this way. You want to expand relationships and network, but you want to keep your circle tight. Okay,
let's go into the tactics of that, because I feel like that's the crossroads of where we're at and where we're going to be. And so to kind of be, from your perspective, you have a lot of, say, predictive thoughts that you guys are positioning for. And so there's, as Tony Robbins says, there's the business you're in and there's the business that you need to be in. And so how do you bridge the gap between the two? And I feel like that might speak to the heart of the rest of our conversation right now, because I think you did a fantastic job of laying down the mindset. How can you possibly shift your focus if your focus is elsewhere? And so let's spend some time right now talking about those the near-term things that you would be coaching agents on, a COVID response plan, tactical strategy plan. What are some of those conversations sound like? What are some of those tactics that,
right? Yeah.
If you were an agent right now, what would you do?
First of all, as an agent, I'm having my own team do this. If you call all of your sphere of influence, all of your past clients, and just check in on them. Don't talk real estate. Just say, hey, how you doing? This has been heavy. Like, I've been talking to a lot of our people, and the key word that's come up a lot are two words: uncertainty and anxiety. My audience, okay? And so I've just been a place to hear them. And I've been really decisive when I hear people. If people start to go on some sort of conspiracy theory, like this is happening because Epstein made a deal to get all the pedophiles in the world right now, and so they're making this happen, or doing it because communism's taken over, or because this is a democratic political play. I don't know that that's true or not true. I'm not saying it is or it isn't, but I also know I'm not going to waste time or energy into those conversations. Okay, so I find those people that are having genuine conversation, and what I'm offering to them is, hey, listen, I know that these are super unstable, uncertain times with real estate. So what we're doing is I'm just offering 15-minute consultations over Zoom, just to kind of walk through your situation and just see if there's any positive feedback or anything that I can help you with. Okay, so I'm calling my SOI and past clients. I'm scheduling 15-minute consultations. I allow for 30-minute space on my calendar, but I'm telling it's 15 in case it goes over a little bit. And I'm doing that on Zoom. So that's one thing that we're doing, is we're reaching out to all of our network to do that. Okay. The second thing that we're doing is I'm doing this in both my academy and in my real estate company, because I'm looking at this as a broker too. I'm not a broker in my company, my partner is, but we look at it as when this real estate market goes like this, agents are going to be flying everywhere, and I'm just going to be catching agents with a butterfly net for my company. That's how I see it, because I'm a leader. I'm certain in the direction we're going. So for realtors, here's how you could do it. There's conversations, objections, and concerns that the buyer and seller consumer are having right now. So what we're doing a live stream on our business page, and we're sharing it to all of our places where buyers and sellers are going to see. Okay, my network. We're emailing it directly to them saying we're going live. And then we're talking about some of the topics and concerns that people are having. And then we're saying, hey, what other questions or concerns do you have? Put them in the comments so we're learning from them what their concerns are. And then we're saying, hey, for our buyers and sellers in our network, what we're doing is we're offering 15-minute Zoom real estate consultations, absolutely free. Just drop in the comments if you schedule one, and we'll connect with you and we'll do it. And then what we do is, after the stream, we go then schedule a call with them, a Zoom call, and the whole purpose is to build a relationship. And then through conversation, one of two things happens. Either they're going to come up and tell me, hey, I just lost my job. I'm not going to be able to pay for my house, and so we're building a relationship too, and we're going to move it to a short sale. Some of them might be, hey, I actually own 150,000 shares of Zoom, and I just made a ton of money, and I want to go buy some real estate. Okay, and I'm not. You get what I'm saying?
Right.
People's needs are going to be different, but it's going to allow for A, opportunity to stem from right now, but B, people are going to remember you when you really genuinely reached out to see how they're doing. When it wasn't about how you can profit off of them, but how can you truly help them? So we're really utilizing social media to move to Zoom conversations, especially if you're in New York right now, because you're limited on, you can't, cold calling is not going to work in New York. Okay. So you can use these types of strategies to really make it work.
We say here at REDX, we're not lawyers. We don't pretend to be lawyers. We don't play lawyers on TV. So everything that we talk about relative to laws and regulations, executive orders, are merely suggestions of the opinions of those speaking on the show. And so I'll enter into that little space right now with you. And for California and New York agents and customers who are watching this, in your own words, the definition of cold calling or soliciting versus, and I think that is a mindset, partially a law. And so I don't have clarity on that. I'm not a lawyer to have clarity on that, but to give agents possibly a new way or different way to think about what's in front of them. Some might think right now, I can't do anything. I can't pick up the phone. I can't talk to people or in my sphere, anything related to real estate completely shut down. And so if you could help maybe illuminate that as the backdrop and apply what you just said to maybe a different insight or viewpoint on staying productive and, like you said, filling their calendars.
Yeah, absolutely. You need to be meeting with people, and let's say that no cold calling means. I'm going to take it directed to what I understand it to be in New York. You're not calling people soliciting a service to them. Okay, random. I take it that means that doesn't mean I can't reach out to my sphere of influence and clients. I have connections with those people. Okay, it doesn't mean that I can't be having Zoom conversations. It doesn't mean that I can't be doing live streams. It doesn't mean that I can't be doing these different things. And even when I'm talking to people, hey, who of your friends might just like this free conversation? Right now is a time, especially if we look at New York or California, you're not sitting on your ass waiting. You're talking with people. You're building, you're using, and I'm not sure how REDX works. I would assume there's some sort of CRM with it.
Yep.
You're going to start building your CRM up in REDX right now, and you're going to start making notes, and you're going to be calling these people. You have a 10-hour-a-day job. It's called networking right now. There's nothing else you should be doing besides doing your RPMs, which I believe is part of your morning routine and your morning rituals that cause peace and excitement and enthusiasm, and then networking with people. And then at the day, you don't need to work 24 hours a day. Spend some time with your family. Get outside. Do those things, right? But utilize what you have. One of the ways of the wizard is that I accept and utilize what is. That doesn't mean I accept and just be the victim and wait for someone to stimulate my economy. I stimulate it. This is my economy, my life, my show, my reality. Don't limit yourselves. That's why Danny Morell, you know Danny at Intero Real Estate in California.
We know Danny.
Great friend of mine. He sent out an email the other day to his email list. I really loved it. He said, "Beware of the couch surfing live streamer." Okay? I'm streaming from my home office because I've got a 4-year-old and a 7-year-old that I have all day right now. Okay, my mom and dad are out in the family room, kind of watching them. But these are some weird times. As a dad, part of my showing up in that outcome is, dude, I'm right here for my girls. I'm not driving to the office, not because I don't think it's safe for me to be there, but it's because I've chosen deliberately to be close to my daughters at this time, especially with the earthquake we just had. My daughters are, my 7-year-old for the last few days. Dad, is there going to be an earthquake while we're asleep tonight? These are, Mr. Rogers said it best when he said, how can we be the best parents possible? Remember what it was like when we were kids. And I don't remember it like this when I was a kid. I don't remember going through a pandemic and what I believe to be a global depression. I don't remember it melting down right at this time. I think what's comforting, though, for me is this isn't going to last forever. This isn't going to stay like this forever. Energy comes in waves, and this is a really negative energy space globally, but this isn't going to last forever. And I don't have to let it affect me. I have a say in my life, my show, my reality. Now, there's things I can't control, but what can I control?
That goes back to, I think, the two buckets that we've been dunking in and out of, which is essentially a skill set for mindset and a skill set for tactical productivity. And I remember hearing somewhere, it's not that there's a lack of resources, there's a lack of resourcefulness. And so now, going back to the beginning of what you were saying, is it's about innovation. Innovation is discovering the resources that are in front of you that you normally couldn't see.
Yeah, for sure. I would say this to you guys right now. If your brokerage, no matter where you're at in North America, is not already executing on a COVID-19 business strategy, you're at the wrong company. Truthfully. The top people that I know, like George Morris, Danny Morell, Louis Hamner, Spring Benson, their routine hasn't shifted much, if any at all. The only thing that shifted a bit with them is their kids are out of school right now, okay? But they are adjusting their plan. I tell my academy, the WGR Academy, this all the time. Listen, you're going to create a plan, and that plan is going to get effed up. Right now, more than ever, your plan's getting effed up. How are you going to show up right now? So if your broker or your company trainer is not already giving executionable items, if they're not already executing, I'm not saying, dude, they've had plenty of time through the whirlwind to get calm and centered and readjust their plan and move forward. But they're also the true leaders right now. They're not throwing out content just to throw content either. We saw that happen. People started going on and just throwing content out there off the cuff that they had no idea. For me personally, I didn't put any content up for probably 7 days straight, not because I didn't know that I needed to, but it's like I wanted to get my own house in order, as they say. I was getting my own house in order, and my meetings weren't putting out random content. My meetings were with George Morris and Spring Benson and Luke Wren, who he trains life and wealth mastery at Tony Robbins. My meetings were closed circuit meetings. They weren't publicly broadcasted just to throw crap out there. So, but we're beyond that now. Okay, I'll give you an example. George Morris, the moment this started really happening, that Sunday, they spent 7 hours as their core leaders in their boardroom making decisions. So the real leaders, they were getting together, recreating and restructuring the COVID-19 business strategy. They weren't out there just throwing shit at the wall. And if your company is just barely now trying to accept that this isn't going to blow over in 2 weeks, what I would do is I would identify a leader in your local community, a local real estate leader. I would join their company immediately. That's what I would do. I would not even wait for my company. That's like waiting for the government to take care of the economy. These trillions of dollars they're about to stimulate, listen, it's just kicking the can down until we have a bigger recession later on. That's all it is. That's a whole other topic, though.
Yeah. There's a me that wished I would have pursued that. Hey, look who it is. Hey, hi.
Hey, babe.
And that's a reality right now for all of us. So it's kind of fun. You could see a CNBC broadcaster and their little kid will pop in. So you brought up some things I'd like to jump into. I've got, let's see here. We're going to reach out to George Morris for sure. Some of those other names. If we don't already have relationships with them, I'd love to chat with you afterwards and see if we can get them on the show to talk about some of their perspectives on this. But there was one thing I think you said so quickly, but might have been the unlock for this entire episode, which is what we've been looking for, is concept of networking and prospecting. And right now, people think of prospecting as this thing and networking as this thing. Networking is something that you go out and physically do, and prospecting is something that you telephonically do, right? And so I feel like if we need to innovate or merge something right now, it is the definition people currently understood it to be and change it to something else. Because I feel like if you think of your phone as your networking tool right now, then you're going to go into, and I'm going to drop some of our product names in here because we have tools, like you said, that are indispensable if you're actively going to stay in this market, like our GeoLeads tool. You can be your neighborhood mayor and news source by getting on the phone and networking, not soliciting, but networking with valuable information like you've talked about, driving them back to a Facebook page. That being one of the tools that I would say could be part of your survival kit during these times. Normally you would use it for just listed, sold. Well, guess what? You're networking about something else now.
Right. Yep. Absolutely. And for me, I think this is why I've adapted so quickly is I was already doing this. This is not new for me. It's like Zoom. Why has Zoom gone up over $50, $60 a share in the last 7 days?
3 days.
Yeah, whatever days it is. It's because they were already doing this.
Yep.
Okay. And now I'll give you an example. Hooper City, it's a small town near me. Their city council members will, because of the you got to social distance, they were saying, well, how are we going to do our meetings now, our council meetings? And, my business partner, Zach, he's like, well, you're just going to do them on Zoom. And they're like, no, how are we going to do our meetings? Like, how are we going to get together and do our council meetings? And he's like, no, it's on Zoom. So what's happening now is someone that's 50, 60 years old that's not normally using technology, they're being rapidly forced into it, like a city councilor, okay? Even, you're seeing dance lessons, like my daughter has dance, they're being taught on Zoom now, okay? You're seeing cheerleading taught on Zoom now. So what happens is that put money into that space, and it's a huge opportunity. So for me, or guys like you and REDX that are doing this already, to me, it's just it's normal for us, and we're just getting a lot more attention now on it because it's like people are investing in it.
And I don't want people to feel like it's too late to get started because there's so many people not doing it. and that I feel like this is creating a fundamental shift, and it will have a fundamental shift, lasting effect when we go back to normal life. I think there are going to be ways people think about business differently, and that this could be that catalyst of technological change that everybody's been talking about for 20 years in the real estate industry. I feel like this may have brought that to the whole next level on how to be that virtual agent, virtually valuable, and that now's the time under these conditions to really come and figure this out, because not just because you have to survive, but if you want to be in the game in the long term, consumers' expectations of the level and types of service that we bring are now going to include whatever comes out of this period.
Yeah. And what people want to hear when you're in these conversations, it's just like a traditional listing appointment. When I go into a traditional listing appointment, the difference is, I always say your job is not to convince them to do business with you. It's to convince them that you are convinced they should do business with you, meaning you are a voice of certainty and confidence. You actually believe what you're selling them, which is you. So when you're doing these types of things, here you got to speak with certainty. You got to speak with courage. Not saying that you've got everything figured out, because I think the old Warren Buffett quote comes in today more than ever. When the tide's going out, which it's going out very fast right now, we're going to see who's been swimming naked. And unfortunately, because the real estate market and industries in general have been so easy to make money the last 5 to 7 years, there was a lot of ego in play. Okay. And so people with major ego identity right now, it's like they're the ones slimming with their pants off. And people are naturally seeing who is the ego and who's coming from a space of certainty and authentic truth for them. These are my authentic truths. And an authentic truth for me allows me to be honest with others without fear of judgment, because I really don't care what you say or think or do. I'm already executing. I'm already up 8-9% on my portfolio today. I'm already generating cash flow while everyone else is closing the doors. Okay? So I don't really care. That's how you've got to come across. If you're worried about what other people think as you're doing this, man, you got to get rid of that quickly. You cannot care at all. I'm not saying don't care about people and have compassion. I'm saying don't worry about how people are judging you right now.
So I'd like to get close to some final thoughts here. Well, we're coming close on the hour, and this has been a very, I would say, grounding conversation. So you've lived up to your theme, your brand. So thank you so much for connecting with me and the audience on this. And one of the kind of subtitles of our show here is knowing what to say and do. And based on survey results from our customers, we have a lot, and probably a majority of our customers are in California, New York, Florida, and Texas. And the majority of that are single solo agents who have raised their hand, oftentimes saying, I'm kind of on my own. I feel alone. And so to wrap it up by saying this, that we have a saying on our content team, on our marketing team, that we want our customers, especially those customers and audiences, to feel like they're not alone and we're on their team. And so right now, this is that moment where you and I can help them feel not alone and on their team. And so if you had to sit down with that person, that individual, and give them a tactical, do this, say this, help, let's say they got the mindset, they're grounded, they're calm, they've done their breathing, they're ready to fill their calendar for the day. Let's end this right now with like that step by step, like they're in the ring and you're in their corner.
Yep. So first of all, I'd say, hey, listen, single agent, you've got a great opportunity. I was a single agent through the last recession, and I would have never guessed I would be where I'm at today over the last 12 years. So you're in a great, great spot. Believe in you. I think there's 3 things I believe in. One is I believe in God. Okay, I believe that there is a higher power, a source energy. 2, I believe in me. And then 3, though, I believe in people. I believe people are really going to come and step up from their core selves and leave their identity and egos aside. So believe in you. You deserve it, okay? Get your house in order financially. We talked about that today. Get your psychological state straight and your emotional state straight. We talked about that today. But get to work working your plan. If you need a plan, follow me WGR, send me a message. We're giving you this specific step-by-step plan right now, but follow that plan. And that plan includes this, depending on where you're at, be networking. I don't see a difference in prospecting and networking. I never have. In fact, I started calling it networking a handful of years ago because prospecting tend to scare people. But it's the same concept. Network, have meaningful conversations, and lead people to building relationships. Find out how you can make money now, closing deals as long as you can. But if you're in California, don't think that this is going to blow over quickly. So you need to really get that financial piece secure and get your cash reserve set up and get networking through Zoom like we've talked about today. But you're going to be okay. No matter what, how you go through this, you're going to be fine. You know, I think we've been running in such high intense energy lately. Just relax and remind yourself, like right now where you're at, you're safe. You're alive. You got food in your belly. You got a roof over your head. You got people that love you and that support you. And you've got the ability to take action. Mm-hmm. That's the difference, though. That's the difference if you choose that or not. And I promise you act in the direction we've talked about today. It's not that there's going to not be challenges, but you'll make it. You'll be fine. You'll thrive through it on the other side.
Thank you so much. I am going to reach out to prospecting today after this call and thank them very much for having you connect with us to come on here. I hope this isn't the last time we get to talk and share ideas. Again, if you want to drop some links where people can follow you, also tell us what WGR stands for.
Yeah, so originally, back in my early days in real estate, I used to have my brand labeled as the world's greatest realtor. I'd call FSBOs expires like, hey, it's Colton Lindsay, the world's greatest realtor. But some of the local realtors didn't like it and turned me into National Association of Realtors. So I got the cease and desist letter from NAR, and then quickly I shifted it to WGR. And it's just become a brand that stands for scaling business, creating financial freedom, and being fulfilled to your core.
That's awesome. Stay on afterwards after we end the live stream. I just want to do some final thoughts for everybody right now is that this is one of the best weeks in, I would say, REDX marketing content history. We started the week off here with Colton. Coming up in the next couple of days, we're going to have Ricky Carruth, the YouTube sensational. You know, everyone loves Ricky. If you don't know Ricky, go Google him. He's just got a massive following, if not the biggest following out there. We've got Dirk Zeller, real estate champions. He's been a coach in the industry for years. If friends with Jason Morris and the Real Estate Agents That Work group, he's going to be on in a couple of days as well. I feel like I'm missing somebody else. Oh, Brian Casella, you might know him as well as far as his content on YouTube as well. So we've really stacked the deck this week in particular to bring you some of the best, most thoughtful, and I would say important people in the industry. If I'm leaving some people out, I'm sorry. These are the days that we had, and I hope to get those other people on the show coming up. And so just want to give you a heads up. Stay tuned. If you're not opted in to get the daily updates when these shows go live, because we're doing them daily until there's no need for it anymore. Go to the redx.com/blog. Look for the little pop-up. Be invited to the next round of these. We're also working on an action set guide. So each one of these episodes that we do, we're trying to find 3 to 5 major points. We're putting it into a PDF doc. So by the end of this week, we should have 10, 20, 30 amazing tips that you can put into your business from all our guests. And so when you're on the list on the redx.com/blog, we're going to email you a copy of that so you have it for yourself. And as the list grows, we'll continue to update it. And so, Colton, once again, thanks for joining us on today's show. You just really dropped the knowledge, the centering. I feel more calm now after listening and talking with you, and I hope our audience and customers do as well. So I'm Justin Zimmerman. See you tomorrow. And I'm still working on the closing here, but I think it's stay calm, stay clean, stay safe. See you next time. I'm Justin Zimmerman.